There's no denying Max Verstappen's skill on the track, but on the other hand, the Belgium Dutch champion also has more than a few controversial moments we've witnessed over the past few years. And even this year alone, he's been making quite a stir with his brash actions. For today, we'll be listing down some of the most controversial moments of Max Verstappen's career, so tune in to find out more. For today's list, we'll be starting with something that took place in July this year, and that's the crash he was involved in with Lewis Hamilton at Silverstone. The Red Bull driver collided with Mercedes' Lewis Hamilton at the opening of the British Grand Prix back last summer, wherein Red Bull's boss called it a 51G impact against the barriers. Fortunately, Verstappen was unharmed and walked away from the crash unscathed, but for safety measures, he was taken to the Silverstone Circuit Medical Center for immediate care. So how did the crash happen? From the get-go, Verstappen and Hamilton had been struggling against one another from the start, wherein Verstappen instilled his spot and defended aggressively at the Brooklands. As the two approached the 190-mile-per-hour Copse corner, Hamilton managed to get a run-up, but Verstappen refused to let up, and as a result, his right rear wheel tagged Hamilton's front left that led to the Dutchman crashing into the barriers. The Mercedes driver was quick to defend his action and quickly announced on the radio his side of the story. "I was ahead going in there, man," Hamilton exclaimed. "Fully alongside, it was my line. He turned in on me. Man, I'd given the guy space." Ron Meadows, Mercedes sporting director, also supported Hamilton's claims and told the race stewards that their driver was significantly alongside on the inside of turn 9. Obviously, the opposing team is not having it. Red Bull's boss, Christian Horner, called Hamilton's success a hollow victory and that he was completely out of order to stick a wheel up the inside. On Channel 4, Horner also added that Hamilton put Verstappen in the fence, calling it a desperate move. Several sports enthusiasts and some fans stated that Verstappen was clearly at fault, and some fans even said that it was a racing accident. Despite the incident, Hamilton was handed a 10-second penalty, but the Mercedes driver managed to emerge victorious in the end. Next, another controversy that affected Max Verstappen's name is the use of racial slurs and derogatory remarks, although this went unpunished. Back in November 2020, news hit that Mongolia accused the Red Bull driver of racist and derogatory remarks, wherein the Mongolian government wrote a letter to the FIA to air their complaints to Verstappen. At the Portuguese Grand Prix held in the same year, Verstappen collided with Lance Stroll during their practice run at the Portimao circuit. After the collision, Verstappen aired comments through his Red Bull team, which included several profanities and a slur. Lundeg Puriservan, Mongolia's UN ambassador, wrote a letter to FIA about Verstappen's comment. "Sport is considered a symbol of unity all over the world, and I believe that there should not be any form of racial discrimination in sports." A portion of Puriservan's letter read, "I support the We Race as One initiative of Formula One against racism, but due to the above-mentioned incident, I doubt that this initiative meets the reality." Verstappen aired his apology in a press conference leading to the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, wherein he said that he never intended to offend anyone. He further stated that what he said happened in the heat of the moment. "I never meant to hurt anyone in particular. I don't think they need to make it bigger than it is. I also know that it is not correct." The Red Bull boss also told BBC that they talked to Verstappen privately. Horner said that they don't condone Max's actions and have discussed it with the driver internally. This wasn't the first time that Verstappen got called out for his racist remarks. In 2017, the driver received backlash after calling Gary Connolly an idiot and a Mongol at the United States Grand Prix. At the event, Verstappen was furious about how he lost his third place after Connolly gave him a 5-second penalty for passing Ferrari driver Kimi Räikkönen with all 4 wheels. Because of this, he lashed out at the FIA steward, calling him an idiot who decided against him, and also accused the governing body that they were killing the sport. The then 20-year-old aired his apology shortly after, composing himself, and reasoned that it was the heat of the moment that made him say things. "I didn't mean anything bad. At that moment, it just blurts out. I didn't mean to hurt anyone," Verstappen said, as quoted by Sport 24. Although he apologized for his behavior, Verstappen Verstappen still stood against his 5-second penalty, calling it an unfair call, and that F1 needs to change the system. Aside from racist remarks and slurs, Verstappen was also bold enough to accuse Ferrari of being a cheat in 2019. Back in 2019, Ferrari experienced a decline of pace in Austin during the US Grand Prix weekend, which led to its rival team speculating that a technical directive clarification from the governing body about the fuel flow meters could obstruct Ferrari's trick. Verstappen went as far as saying that Ferrari's drop in pace is what happens when you stop cheating. With no concrete evidence, Ferrari denied Verstappen's claim, saying that I was completely wrong. On the other hand, Ferrari driver and four-time world champion Sebastian Vettel called Verstappen's remarks as not professional or mature. Everybody's free to say what they want, and if that's what he thinks, that's what he may think. But obviously, we have a different opinion, Vettel commented. I think it's not professional or mature, but I can also see that you're probably interested in me answering back, and I don't have much interest in that, other than to say that for us, the best way to answer is to go back to normal. And of course, Verstappen and Hamilton once again got entangled literally for the second time this year at the Italian Grand Prix in Monza last September. Their on-track collision in Monza resulted in both drivers being taken out of the race and a safety car deployed for both drivers. Verstappen's Red Bull vehicle mounted Hamilton's Mercedes after hitting a curb. It might have become one of the most terrifying accidents in history had it not been for the halo in Hamilton's car that shielded him. Despite the collision happening at a low speed, their collision at turn 2 in the Rettifilo chicane will be investigated by safety experts from FIA. Before the accident, Hamilton was running behind Verstappen at the start of the race, then later emerged from the pits ahead of the Dutchman. As the pair went into turn 1 with Hamilton in the lead and Verstappen on the outside, the latter attempted to surpass Hamilton on the inside of turn 2, where their vehicles came into contact. Verstappen's car got thrown in the air and landed atop Hamilton's Mercedes, which led to them taking an unlikely exit in the race. Following the crash, Verstappen can be heard on the radio saying, "That's what you get for not leaving space." But as for Hamilton, his camera got damaged in the collision, so no broadcast was made from his side. After the collision, Hamilton aired his sentiments on what took place. According to Hamilton, they followed Daniel Ricciardo into the corner and said that he was aware of Verstappen's position and saw him coming. "I made sure I left a car's width on the outside for him," the Mercedes driver explained. "I went into turn 1 and I was ahead. I was ahead going into turn 2, and then all of a sudden, he was on top of me." On the other hand, the Dutchman rebutted what Hamilton said, saying his rival failed to leave him space. "You just kept on pushing me wider and wider," the Red Bull driver countered Hamilton's narrative. "At one point, there was no way to go. He just pushed me onto the sausage curb. And that's why at the end of the day, we touched because of the rear tire bumped up to his tire." After the FIA conducted their investigations on both drivers, they named Verstappen as the one to be predominantly to blame for the incident. Of course, the respective bosses of each team sided with their drivers, with Mercedes' Toto Wolff comparing the collision to football, saying it was a tactical foul. On the opposite team, Red Bull's Christian Horner claimed that Verstappen had the momentum and enough space on the outside, but he thought that Hamilton closed him too much into turn 2. And with that, we've run out of time, so we'll be wrapping up today's video about Max Verstappen's most controversial moments in his career so far. This Dutch champion has a bright and promising future ahead of him, don't you think so? But concerning his latest collision with Lewis Hamilton, do you think he played a bigger fault, or was it Hamilton's? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to our channel with a notification bell on. We'll see you at the next episode.